One of the things that was really helpful for me in the immediate aftermath of the situation that occurred in my congregation was that we had a member of Presbyterian Disaster Assistance come, and he came into my office and we sat down and he asked me some questions. But one of the things that he did that was most helpful for me was he framed what I was going through after a shooting event, after a traumatic event that really kind of ripped us apart as a community of faith, is he framed it as a disaster. And when he said those words, that this is a disaster, what immediately came to my awareness was that this is something that we could recover from. I have watched communities recover from disaster. I've watched flooded communities muck out and rebuild, and volunteers come and do everything that they need to do, and a couple years later you would never know that a disaster had occurred. I wasn't there yet with the trauma of a shooting event, but that idea that somehow there's a process here, or there's some hope of recovery, that made sense to me. And I found that to be incredibly helpful and shared that with the congregation in the very first sermon that I preached, that this is a disaster and that we don't know how we're going to recover from it because all disasters are different. We don't know how the energy of the trauma is going to manifest itself because it happens in obvious ways, but also in very surprising ways. But we can recover from a disaster, and we can figure it out together. And that was one of the most helpful constructs that I was given, one of the better frames, if you will, to view what was happening through. Disaster and recovery. There was a process, maybe unknown, but we could figure out how to work our way through that.